Welcome back to English Podcast for Listening and Speaking. I'm Brian, feeling curious and slightly nerdy, because today we'll tame a powerful beast, informal chat versus IELTS. Ready vocabulary, truly score-shifting stuff.
And I'm Emily, excited, a bit dramatic, haha, because words carry moods. The same idea sounds friendlier or more professional depending on register. Let's turn that superpower into your advantage.
Quick CTA before we dive deep, please like, share, and comment where you're listening. Your support pushes this episode to learners everywhere, which honestly feels warmer than coffee on a rainy morning.
Today's promise is simple. You'll hear how casual phrases convert into examiner-friendly language without sounding robotic. You'll practice listening for needs, task type, audience expectation, and purpose behind words.
Big picture first. Informal English is relaxed, speedy, and personal. IELTS vocabulary is clearer than casual speech, more precise than slang, and friendlier to examiners than rambly storytelling on autopilot.
So think of two lanes. Lane 1, chatting with a friend after class. Lane 2, speaking to an examiner who values clarity, cohesion, and credibility. Same brain, different settings like headphones modes.
Our key listening skill today is extracting details about types and needs. Types, speaking part 1 chit-chat, part 2 long turn, part 3 discussion. Needs, tone, precision, depth, and thoughtful organization.
To guide your ear, we'll use comparatives naturally. Clearer than, more concise than, less casual than, more persuasive than, not grammar charts living sentences. We'll shape tone using tiny, powerful choices.
Opinion starters help you sound controlled, not rehearsed. I think, I feel, it seems, from my experience, I'd argue. These lines soften bold claims and invite conversation instead of confrontation.
Let's blend warmth with usefulness. Audience question 1. When do you slip into slang fastest friends, gaming, or texting? Tell us below. Noticing triggers makes control easier than memorizing giant word lists.
Audience question 2. Which part scares you most? Part 1, 2, or 3. Write one reason using a comparative. Part 3 feels tougher than part 1 because the questions seem deeper and faster.
Nice. Now, to frame register clearly, we invited a tiny expert cameo. Meet Dr. Ray, linguist and former examiner, who loves making complex ideas clearer than icy windows on sunny mornings.
Hello, everyone. Think in 3 circles: audience, purpose, and task. For friends, your purpose is connection. For examiners, your purpose is clarity and evidence. Task decides how formal your choices should be.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. I love that triangle. Audience, purpose, task. If the audience is an examiner and the purpose is evaluation, your vocabulary should be steadier than casual weekend chatter.
Quick sample. Informal. The city's traffic is kinda crazy. Buses are like super late. IELTS ready. Urban congestion is severe. Public transport often runs behind schedule. Same meaning, sharper coat, calmer shoes.
Hear the difference? Kinda crazy becomes severe. Super late becomes runs behind schedule. Not fancy for its own sake, just cleaner than fluff, and easier for examiners to score accurately.
Another example, informal. I'm into eco stuff. IELTS. I'm interested in environmental sustainability. You sound more credible than casual without losing personality. Precision wins marks, personality wins listeners.
Important warning. Over-formality can sound colder than January wind. Our goal isn't stiffness, it's strategic clarity. Imagine a friendly professor voice rather than a robot reading legal paperwork, right?
Exactly. Opinion starter upgrade. I feel social media helps community projects. IELTS friendly. I'd argue social platforms can facilitate community initiatives. Polite, assertive, flexible, less casual than chat, more persuasive than shrugging.
Let's connect to speaking task types briefly. Part 1 prefers concise, personal answers friendly, but not slangy. Part 2 needs organized storytelling signposted, clearer than improvisation. Part 3 demands reasoning, examples, implications.
We'll drill those in section 2. For now, practice a micro switch. Say your informal sentence, then breathe, then restate it in examiner-friendly language. That pause transforms clarity faster than caffeine.
CTA midstream, drop a pair below. Informal version plus IELTS. Ready version. We'll shout out creative examples. Community examples train ears better than solo practice, because variety stretches thinking pleasantly.
Let's discuss hedging briefly. Examiners appreciate nuance. Instead of, "This always causes problems," try, "This often causes problems," or "This might contribute to problems." Tentative language is wiser than overclaiming.
And comparatives build diplomacy. This policy seems more effective than previous attempts. See? Not extreme, but directional. Comparatives reduce conflict, while showing judgment, very examiner-friendly, deeply human.
Another listening tip: flag words that signal purpose, because, therefore, as a result. For example, those markers make ideas march in order. Your answer sounds organized rather than scattered, which helps coherence.
Now a playful register pivot with an everyday idea. Casual. The movie was super cool. IELTS ready. The film was compelling. The pacing felt tighter than expected, and the cinematography supported the emotional arc.
That's tasty. Notice we didn't bury feelings. We named them precisely. Vocabulary should carry emotion without sounding flimsy. Strong words, clear structure, warm voice, that's the triangle we'll practice.
Let's preview a special case we'll revisit later. Animal vocabulary. Casual to a friend. My dog's kind of jumpy. To a vet, his temperament is anxious. This breed gets overstimulated. IELTS. This breed's temperament trends toward reactivity.
Exactly. Same dog, different audience needs. Friend needs reassurance, vet needs detail, examiner needs precise language. It's the same idea dressed smarter than yesterday's hoodie, haha.
Keep noting tiny upgrades. Stuff is bad becomes outcomes are concerning. Things got better becomes indicators improved. You're not showing off. You're providing handles for the examiner's scoring criteria.
Speaking of handles, opinion starters again. From my experience, it seems, I'd suggest, I'd argue, those openers help you sound thoughtful rather than absolute. Thoughtfulness feels safer than swagger during assessments.
Micro roleplay. Informal question. Why do people move to cities? Casual answer. Jobs, obviously. IELTS ready. Primarily employment opportunities. Urban areas often provide higher wages and denser professional networks than rural regions.
Beautiful contrast. You kept meaning, upgraded tone, and added a comparative higher wages and denser networks. The examiner hears structure, not noise. Structure wins marks, like rhythm keeps dancers together.
Another quick drill. Replace slangy intensifiers with measured adjectives. Totally amazing, highly effective, really bad, seriously problematic, super easy, relatively straightforward. Keep feeling, refine the suit.
Audience pulse check. What's one informal phrase you use daily? Rewrite it in a calmer, exam-friendly version. Post both. You'll feel the gear shift. That feeling is skill hardening gently into habit.
Before we land this section, a shareable line for your notes. Clarity isn't colder than slang. It's kinder to listeners. Screenshot that if it helps. Kindness in language is underrated.
Bridge to Section 2. We'll map types of tasks to needs step by step. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and practice extracting details and choosing vocabulary that fits each audience and purpose.
Final reminder: like, share, comment your informal IELTS pair. Your example might be the spark someone needs tonight. Learning travels faster than trains when communities push together, you know.
All right, friends. Warm voices, sharp minds. See you in Section 2, where we'll turn task types into easy pathways. Bring curiosity and courage. We'll handle the heavy lifting together.
Welcome back. Today we'll map IELTS speaking tasks to real needs, so your register choices become clearer than guesswork and kinder than nerves. 3 arenas. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3.
Picture 3 rooms. Room 1 is small talk with purpose. Room 2 is storytelling with structure. Room 3 is discussion with depth. Each room demands slightly different language clothing.
Let's start with Part 1. Questions feel friendly, everyday, quick. Answers should be concise. Warmer than robotic, but less casual than texting friends. Precision beats slang, rhythm beats rambling.
Example time. Informal would be, I'm super into street food, it's crazy good. Part 1 upgrade. I really enjoy street food. The variety is wider than restaurant menus, honestly.
Notice the comparative wider than. It signals judgment without drama. Needs here. Tone friendly, content personal, length controlled. 2 crisp sentences outperform 5 wandering circles every single minute.
Another. Informal. My city's kinda noisy. Part 1 upgrade. My city is lively, sometimes noisier than I prefer, but festivals make weekends brighter. Personal, balanced, and clearer than sighing complaints.
Listening skill alert. Extract the need behind each question. If they ask about hobbies, they need routine, frequency, feeling. Give those details, not biographies. Details weigh more than adjectives.
Opinion starters help. Say, I think, I feel, from my experience. These soften edges while keeping clarity. You sound thoughtful, not rehearsed. Thoughtful voices score higher than flashy vocabulary fireworks.
Now part 2. The long turn. You speak longer, so structure matters. An answer that's organized is more convincing than one that's merely poetic. Signposts prevent getting lost mid-story.
Try a simple arc. Context. Key moments, reflection. Example. I'd like to describe a neighborhood market. It's busier than supermarkets, friendlier than malls, and honestly more meaningful than online shopping.
Beautiful. Those comparatives busier than, friendlier than, more meaningful than create movement. Needs here. Time control, cohesion, specific images, gentle conclusion. The examiner listens for shape, not only sparkle.
Add a time anchor and a sensory detail. Last summer, the spice stalls smelled richer than any cafe nearby. Sensory specifics are stronger than generic adjectives, especially during timed speaking.
If nerves spike, breathe and use opinion starters again. I suppose, it seems. From what I've seen, they convert pressure into flow. Flow is calmer than frantic memory searching.
Role-play mini long turn. Topic. A teacher who influenced you. She explained complex ideas simpler than textbooks and encouraged questions more patiently than anyone. See the structure forming already?
Exactly. Then reflect. Because of her, my study habits became more consistent than before. Reflection answers the hidden need. Impact. Impact sentences sound more mature than raw description alone.
On to part 3, deeper discussion. Here the examiner wants reasoning, comparisons, and implications. Your language should be more analytical than casual, more tentative than absolute, more balanced than heated.
Sample prompt. Should cities invest more in public transport? Examiner-friendly response. I'd argue investment is more effective than road expansion. Evidence suggests congestion decreases when frequency improves, not merely when lanes multiply.
Add nuance with modals. It might reduce emissions and could increase accessibility. Modals make claims sound measured rather than stubborn. Measured claims are more credible than big booming declarations.
Another prompt. Are online friendships as valuable as offline ones? Balanced answer. They can be more accessible than local networks, though sometimes less supportive than in-person communities during crises.
Part 3 needs examples and logic. Signal them. For example, as a result, therefore. These guide the examiner's ear. Guided ears score more generously than ears forced to guess structure.
Quick comparison drill across parts. Part 1. I cycle twice a week. Part 2. Cycling became my weekend ritual after moving. Part 3. If cities subsidize bike lanes, commutes would become safer.
Hear the rise in abstraction? Part 1 is daily habit. Part 2 is personal narrative. Part 3 is policy and consequence. Each step needs language slightly more formal than the last.
Audience question 1. Which part challenges you most, and why? Write one comparative sentence. Like, Part 3 feels tougher than Part 2, because the reasoning must be tighter than usual.
Audience question 2. Choose a Part 2 topic and add one comparative pair, like, the museum's layout was clearer than the guidebook. Post it. Practicing aloud makes growth faster than silence.
Now let's practice extracting needs from a sample. Part 1 question. Do you prefer mornings or evenings? Needs. Preference, reason, routine. Answer. Evenings are calmer than mornings. I study better after dinner.
Add a tiny detail. Street noise drops after 9, so my focus gets sharper than daytime. That single image carries more weight than 3 generic adjectives trying too hard.
Sample Part 2 prompt. Describe a place where you like to read. Needs, setting, atmosphere, frequency, effect, structure. There's a riverside cafe. It's quieter than libraries and brighter than my apartment.
Conclude with impact. Because of that light, my notes look tidier than ever. Impact sentences help examiners hear closure. Closure feels more professional than drifting into silence awkwardly.
Sample Part 3 question. Should governments prioritize libraries or sports facilities? Balanced stance. Libraries may be more inclusive than stadiums. However, sports facilities could improve community health if costs remain equitable.
Use hedging words to avoid extremes. May, might, could, tends to. Hedging is smarter than absolutism during evaluation. It signals awareness rather than overconfidence, which examiners appreciate.
Quick register switch game. Casual. This policy is kinda dumb. Examiner friendly. This policy seems less effective than intended. Implementation gaps appear wider than planners predicted. Tone upgraded. Content preserved.
Another. Casual. That film was super long and boring. Examiner friendly. The film felt longer than necessary. Pacing dragged, while character development was less compelling than the director's earlier work.
Let's embed time management. Part 1 answers should be shorter than Part 2, obviously. Part 3 turns should be tighter than Part 2 stories, but deeper than Part 1 preferences.
If you're tempted to sprint, slow slightly. Pauses are more strategic than filler words. A measured breath organizes thoughts faster than, like, especially under exam pressure.
Micro-template for Part 1. Preference plus reason plus tiny example. I prefer trains. They're more punctual than buses, and yesterday's ride arrived earlier than expected. Done. Clean. Believable. Complete.
Micro-template for Part 2. Scene, actions, effect. I joined a weekend workshop. Sessions were shorter than university lectures but more practical than tutorials. I left more confident than before.
Micro-template for Part 3. Position, comparative reasoning, implication. Public parks are more beneficial than malls. They encourage activity, therefore healthcare costs might drop. That triangle satisfies depth without lectures.
Let's add idioms carefully, keeping clarity first. Rule of thumb, shorter answers for Part 1. In a nutshell, Part 3 wants reasons. Idioms should support meaning, not overshadow it.
Small pronunciation reminder. In careful speech, stress carries logic. Emphasize comparatives. More inclusive than, less crowded than. Precise stress makes arguments sharper than shouting synonyms rapidly.
Practice drill. Choose one question from each part. Answer using one comparative and one opinion starter. Keep it natural. Post your trio below. We'll celebrate creative, clear solutions.
Before we bridge forward, highlight your listening lens again. Types and needs. When you spot the type, the need becomes easier than panic. When you satisfy the need, fluency feels inevitable.
Next, we'll turn comparatives into turbochargers for tone. You'll learn to upgrade sentences from casual to examiner-friendly using tiny, confident shifts. Bring curiosity. Your voice will feel stronger than yesterday.
Welcome back. Today we'll turn casual sentences into examiner-friendly versions using comparatives clearer than memorized charts, more persuasive than random synonyms, and honestly easier than you might expect.
I love tiny upgrades. We're not chasing heavy jargon. We're choosing language that sounds cleaner than slang and warmer than robotic scripts. Natural tone beats textbook stiffness every time.
Let's start simple. Casual. The museum was super cool. Upgrade. The museum was more engaging than I expected. The modern wing felt more immersive than the classical galleries. Cleaner, sharper, still personal.
Notice how comparatives steer emotion without shouting. More engaging than, more immersive than. You're comparing experiences rather than hurling adjectives. Comparisons feel more believable than exaggerated praise.
Another pair. Casual. The app is kinda annoying. Upgrade. The app is less intuitive than its competitor. Navigation feels slower than last year's version. Same attitude, more credible than complaints.
Opinion starters help. Try, from my experience, this cafe is quieter than the campus library. That sounds more grounded than best cafe ever. Grounded claims travel farther than hype.
Speed drill. Casual. My neighborhood is great. Upgrade. My neighborhood feels safer than downtown and more communal than nearby suburbs. Two comparisons create shape. Shape sounds smarter than vague flattery. Part 1 application. Question. Do you like reading? Casual. Yeah, a lot. Upgrade. I like reading. Audiobooks are more convenient than paper on commutes, though paper feels more relaxing than screens at night.
Part 2 application. Topic. Describe a difficult decision. Casual. Picking a major was tough. Upgrade. Choosing engineering felt riskier than business but more aligned than law with my curiosity about systems.
Part 3 application. Prompt. Should governments fund sports or arts? Upgrade. Arts funding may be more inclusive than elite sports. However, community sports might be more effective than galleries for public health.
That balance sounds mature. Comparatives let you weigh options without sounding combative. Balanced tone is more examiner-friendly than passionate rants, even when your ideas are strong.
Let's practice concision. Casual. It was totally amazing and super awesome. Upgrade. It was more impressive than I expected. Fewer words, stronger signal. Concision reads clearer than repetition.
Another concision moment. Casual. The bus system is really, really bad. Upgrade. Buses are less reliable than trains during peak hours. Precision moves the conversation forward faster than dramatics.
Missed step to avoid overusing more without criteria. Add dimensions. Efficiency, clarity, cost, accessibility. Example. This solution is more cost-effective than the alternative and more accessible than previous pilots.
Tone softeners help when disagreeing. This argument seems less convincing than the earlier point because evidence is thinner than anecdotes. You're challenging ideas more politely than challenging people.
Micro roleplay. I'll say casual. You upgrade. College is kinda expensive.
Tuition is higher than the national average, and dorm fees are less reasonable than off-campus housing. Specific comparatives sound smarter than sighing into the microphone. Haha.
Another. That policy is great.
That policy appears more practical than previous proposals and more transparent than current alternatives. Notice how appears keeps space for nuance. Nuance scores better than certainty without proof.
Add cohesive signals. Therefore, as a result, for example, public transit is faster than driving downtown. As a result, commuters arrive more punctual than before. Structure beats improvisation.
Quick audience drill. Choose one everyday sentence and rewrite it with a comparative plus a reason. Post it below. Practice sticks harder than good intentions, and community practice sticks hardest.
Technology example. Casual. My phone battery is terrible. Upgrade. Battery life is shorter than advertised and drains faster than last year's model during video calls. Evidence sounds sturdier than outrage.
Lifestyle example. Casual. That gym is nice. Upgrade. The gym feels cleaner than others nearby and quieter than chain locations early mornings. Comparatives unlock texture. Texture persuades gently.
Travel example. Casual. The beach was amazing. Upgrade. The beach was calmer than the city's riverfront and safer than the cliffside cove for beginner swimmers. Safety dimension earns adult credibility.
Cultural example. Casual. The festival was fun. Upgrade. The festival felt more inclusive than last year. Multilingual signs made navigation smoother than before. Inclusivity plus outcome sounds thoughtful.
Now for tricky intensifiers. Replace very, really, super with measured comparatives. More detailed than, less noisy than, more flexible than. These land cleaner than boosted adjectives.
Hedging plus comparative equals diplomacy. This solution might be more sustainable than quick fixes. That sentence respects complexity. Diplomacy earns trust faster than stubborn certainty.
Common pitfall. Stacking 5 comparatives without logic. Group them. More affordable and more durable than. Then explain why. Clarity is stronger than quantity in every scoring rubric I've seen.
Pronunciation tip. Emphasize the contrast word, more efficient than, less risky than. That vocal shape guides listeners better than mumbling. Your voice can underline logic without shouting.
Let's add idioms carefully. Rule of thumb. Concision is more memorable than decoration. Idioms should clarify, not confuse. Clear idioms are more helpful than clever ones that hijack meaning.
Another idiom. In a nutshell, comparatives make arguments tighter than bragging. Keep them light. Idioms should be seasoning, not the main dish. Seasoning lifts flavor, overeating spice hurts.
Classroom upgrade. Casual. Group projects are annoying. Upgrade. Group projects are less efficient than individual work when roles are unclear, but outcomes are more creative than solo efforts with strong collaboration.
Workplace upgrade. Casual. Remote work is awesome. Upgrade. Remote schedules are more flexible than office routines, though collaboration can be less spontaneous than hallway conversations. Balanced truth beats slogans.
Micro template you can steal. Statement plus comparative plus reason. Library hours are longer than before because funding increased. That triangle is sturdier than long monologues dripping adjectives.
Compare register itself. Exam language is clearer than slang but warmer than legalese when done right. That framing keeps you human. Humanity performs better than memorized speeches every time.
Audience check-in mid-episode CTA. If this helps, like, share, and comment your best upgrade sentence. Your post might be more inspiring than any example we invent today, honestly.
Let's test speed conversion. I'll give casual, you upgrade quickly. Casual, the cafe is pricey.
Prices are higher than nearby options, but the atmosphere feels quieter than most, which justifies occasional visits. Trade-offs sound wiser than pure negativity.
Casual, my teacher talks too fast.
Her pace is faster than comfortable for newcomers. However, explanations are clearer than the textbook once you adapt. Fairness builds credibility faster than complaints.
Casual, this book is boring.
The pacing is slower than necessary, yet the historical detail is richer than typical thrillers. Nuance breathes, nuance impresses.
Now, blending comparatives with opinion starters. I'd argue city parks are more beneficial than malls for teen well-being. Sounds measured, persuasive, and warmer than malls are bad.
Bring in evidence language. Data suggests bus frequency is more influential than fares for ridership. Evidence terms elevate tone more reliably than fancy adjectives sprinkled like confetti.
Time to connect with Part 3 expectations. If governments invested in libraries, access would become more equitable than today. That hypothetical plus comparative drives policy talk smoother than slogans.
Paraphrase practice. Examiner. Are big cities better than small towns? Response. Big cities may be more diverse than small towns, though small towns can be more cohesive than urban neighborhoods.
Watch the shape comparatives on both sides. Soft modals for balance. Balanced shape feels wiser than one-sided cheerleading. Examiners hear maturity instantly.
Quick self-edit trick. After speaking, ask, can I replace an intensifier with a comparative? If yes, do it. Your sentence becomes tighter than before in one breath.
Final mini drill. Choose a hobby, compare two aspects, and add a reason. Morning runs are easier than evening runs because the streets are quieter. Post yours. Practice fuels progress.
Memorable line time. Comparatives turn opinions into evidence. If that resonates, screenshot it and tag a friend. Shareable wisdom travels farther than isolated notes hidden in notebooks.
Bridge forward. Next section, we'll use modals must, should, might, could to add polite power and examiner-friendly hedging. Your tone will feel steadier than nerves and stronger than guesswork.
Welcome back. Today, we'll shape tone using modals must, should, might, could, so your answers sound confident, respectful, and examiner-friendly, not bossy or vague. Tiny choices carry surprisingly big power.
I love how modals behave like volume knobs for certainty. Must feels firm, should sounds advisable, might signals possibility, and could invites options. Each mood serves a different audience need.
Start with a contrast. Casual. People always work harder at home. Examiner, ready. People might work more productively at home, though results could vary across roles. Softer certainty feels smarter than sweeping claims.
Another, casual. Governments need to ban cars downtown. Upgrade. Governments should restrict central traffic and public transport could be prioritized. You're persuasive without sounding louder than evidence.
Use must sparingly for obligations grounded in safety, legality, or necessity. Hospitals must maintain staffing levels. That's firmer than should and justified. Overusing must makes everyday opinions feel brittle.
Part 1 example. Question. Do you prefer studying alone or with others? Response. I prefer studying alone. Classmates might distract me, although group sessions could help before exams. Balance impresses more than extremes.
Part 2 long-term guidance. I should describe a teacher who transformed my methods. She would pause, so complex ideas could land. Students could ask anything without fear. Modals scaffold narrative gently.
Part 3 depth. Policymakers should invest in libraries. Access might reduce inequality. Communities could pair libraries with after-school programs. These modals organize priorities and possibilities without sounding combative.
Devil's advocate moment. I'll push hard, you respond politely. Students must memorize fancy words to score band 9.
Students should expand vocabulary, but fluency and coherence might influence scores more consistently. Learners could focus on clarity before rare expressions. Firm, kind, and focused on real needs.
Another challenge. Cities must build more roads to fix congestion.
Authorities should examine public transport first. Frequency increases might reduce congestion. Cycling infrastructure could encourage short trips. Polite resistance sounds stronger than stubborn certainty.
Subtlety matters. Should delivers advice respectfully. People should recycle. Strong yet human. Must here may feel preachy unless you're quoting law. Examiners appreciate tone that fits social context.
Hedging prevents overclaiming. This policy might improve attendance. Incentives could help. Hedging isn't weakness, it's intellectual honesty. Examiners hear maturity when you calibrate confidence to evidence.
Add comparatives for persuasive shape. Remote schedules might be more flexible than office routines, but teamwork could be less spontaneous than hallway conversations. Modals plus comparatives sound balanced and analytical.
Audience task: post one sentence with should and a comparative like, cities should build safer sidewalks. Walking could become more attractive than short car trips. Practicing aloud builds muscle memory faster than reading.
Handling disagreement gracefully. I respect that view. However, policymakers might consider long-term costs. Notice how might consider redirects heat into analysis. Diplomacy keeps interviews calmer than confrontations.
In invitations, modals soften requests. Could you clarify your point? Might you give an example? That's friendlier than explain now. Friendly tone helps coherence because nerves drop and thoughts organize.
Storytelling modals add color. When I was 12, I would read after midnight so I could finish chapters. Wood paints habitual actions without dull timelines. Rhythm beats chronology sometimes.
Paraphrasing exam questions use modals to avoid repetition. Examiner: should schools focus on grades? Response: schools might emphasize growth. Teachers could reward progress. Same topic, fresh shape, natural register.
Policy example with tiers. Governments must enforce safety standards. Companies should publish audits. Consumers could compare ratings. Clear hierarchy signals priority, advice, and option. Structure impresses quietly.
Health example: people should sleep earlier. Exercise might improve mood. Small routines could stabilize stress. That triad feels practical. Modals turn abstract wellness into doable steps without scolding.
Caution: don't stack modals mindlessly. Tie each to evidence, consequence, or audience. Universities should cap class sizes because interaction might increase. Reason completes the promise, otherwise sentences feel hollow.
Add opinion starters to keep warmth. I'd argue cities should expand trees. Summers might grow harsher otherwise. The I'd argue softens edges, while should focuses action. Human plus clear equals credible.
Micro roleplay. Examiner asks, how could communities support the elderly?
Communities should design benches near shops. Volunteers might assist deliveries. Libraries could host tech workshops. Notice the calm cadence: practical, respectful, and organized without sounding rehearsed.
Another. Should art be mandatory at school?
Art should remain available for everyone. Creativity might enhance problem solving. Schools could integrate short modules rather than long compulsory tracks. Balanced stance avoids binary traps elegantly.
Bring in listening skill, extract the need before speaking. If the question needs feasibility, could opens doors. If it needs responsibility, should directs. If safety or law, must anchors.
Compare tones quickly. People must recycle versus people should recycle. The first risks moralizing. The second invites participation. For exams, inviting participation usually sounds wiser than policing.
Idiom with care. Rule of thumb: should persuades better than must in social topics. Must shines in safety discussions. Idioms should clarify, not distract. Keep them clean and contextual.
Softening strong claims. It's essential can become, it should be a priority. Same direction, gentler temperature. Listeners hear openness, not stubbornness, which keeps conversation alive and collaborative.
When you must disagree, frame alternatives. Instead of bans, authorities could pilot incentives. Alternatives sound constructive. Constructive language scores better than pure criticism because solutions demonstrate reasoning.
Pronunciation matters. Stress the modal lightly, then the key idea. We should prioritize access. Overstressing modals sounds theatrical. Calm delivery feels more credible than courtroom drama. Ha ha.
Time to embed modals into comparatives. Libraries should stay open later. Evening access might be more useful than early mornings for shift workers. Now your comparative serves a specific community need.
Audience check. Write a Part 3 sentence using might plus a comparative. Telemedicine might be more efficient than routine visits for minor issues. Post yours. Will cheer clear, compassionate phrasing.
Politeness upgrade kit. Replace commands with invitations. Explain your view. Could you explain your view? Give examples. Might you share an example? Examiners notice respectful micro-choices.
Caution with could. It signals possibility, not certainty. Don't overuse it where evidence is strong. Use should or is likely to when the case is convincing, so confidence matches facts.
Quick quartet drill. Same idea. 4 modal flavors. We must reduce emissions. We should reduce emissions. We could reduce emissions. We might reduce emissions. Feel the gradient? Choose intentionally for purpose.
Speaking anxiety tip. When ideas tangle, start with I'd suggest. It buys thinking time and frames calm advice. Your brain catches up while tone stays steady, friendlier than panicked silence.
Role-play disagreement again. Tourism must expand everywhere.
Tourism should expand carefully. Fragile ecosystems might suffer. Local guidelines could protect culture. See the trio advice, possibility, option. Balanced language lowers defensiveness and invites reasoning.
Integrate evidence verbs. Studies suggest remote work could improve retention. Reports indicate subsidies might distort markets. Evidence plus modal equals credible caution, perfect for Part 3 discussions.
Add consequence language. If subsidies continue, housing costs could climb. That's a gentle forecast, not doom. Examiners reward measured foresight more than dramatic thunder, especially under time pressure.
Invitations and boundaries together. Could you arrive by 6? We should finish by 9. Kind, clear, workable. Logistics wrapped in courtesy earn cooperation without drama.
Feedback phrasing. Your idea could work if timelines extend. Polite, specific, collaborative. Compare with that won't work, closed and cold. Collaboration sounds wiser than door-slamming statements.
Micro-template summary. Modal plus action plus reason. Cities should widen sidewalks because pedestrian safety must improve. Strong, layered, purposeful. Templates free attention for examples and pronunciation.
Closing mini drill. Build 2 lines, one with should, one with might, both tied to a need. Post them. Sharing helps shy learners more than silent perfection ever could.
Shareable line time. Modals turn pressure into permission, and permission unlocks better answers. Screenshot that, tag a friend, and keep practicing out loud. Voices grow stronger when used.
Bridge forward. Next, we'll play with second conditionals and paraphrasing what-ifs to deepen ideas gracefully. Your reasoning will feel sturdier than nerves and more flexible than memorized scripts.
Welcome back. Today we'll use what-ifs to add depth, then paraphrase questions smoothly. Hypothetical thinking sounds richer than slogans, and paraphrasing keeps answers clearer than frantic synonym fishing.
I love what-ifs because they stretch empathy. If I had more time, I'd volunteer weekly. If resources were limited, I'd prioritize literacy. See the shape possibility plus consequence, naturally spoken.
Exactly. If cities funded night libraries, students would study later without noise. That single line carries cause, effect, and audience needs. It's calmer than speeches and smarter than bare opinions.
Try a planning version. If buses arrived every 8 minutes, commuters would feel safer than drivers stuck downtown. What-ifs let you test ideas politely instead of fighting over absolutes.
Examiner pivot. If you faced a Part 3 policy question, you could forecast outcomes. If subsidies continued, small landlords would hesitate. Forecasts sound more analytical than recycled slogans, always.
Add balance. If governments invested only in roads, congestion would shrink briefly, but emissions would rise. Mixed consequences show maturity. Examiners hear nuance faster than they hear expensive adjectives.
Audience quick drill. Write one line. If X changed, Y would improve. Keep it practical: schools, parks, healthcare. That structure turns nervous silence into confident reasoning under time pressure.
Now paraphrasing. When a question arrives, restate gently to buy thinking time. So you're asking about childhood hobbies. Paraphrases are kinder than long pauses and safer than filler words.
Upgrade the restatement with a purpose word. You're asking about childhood hobbies and their benefits. Purpose words benefit, impact, challenge make your answer sound guided rather than meandering.
Add a comparative in the answer. If schools encouraged hobbies, creativity would grow faster than test scores alone. Comparatives plus what-ifs produce persuasive music without sounding theatrical, haha.
Let's model a full exchange. Question. Should museums be free? Paraphrase. So the issue is access. Answer. If admissions dropped, attendance would rise. Education could become more inclusive than before.
Another. Are online classes effective? Paraphrase. So effectiveness versus convenience. Answer. If platforms improved interaction, outcomes would be closer to classroom results and cheaper than traditional models.
Idiom checkpoint. Used lightly. Rule of thumb. Paraphrase briefly. Then answer. Keep idioms clean. We're clarifying, not decorating. Clarity beats confetti. Every single exam day.
Quick contrast. Don't repeat the entire question robotically. Summarize the essence. So the priority is safety. Then build. If street lighting improved, crime would drop and evenings would feel friendlier than now.
Let's weave in evidence verbs. Research suggests if mentoring expanded, dropout rates would decline. Evidence language lifts tone higher than superlatives. Superlatives impress less than credible reasoning.
Time for our animal vocabulary cameo register in action. Same situation. 3 audiences. Friend, vet, examiner. Watch the vocabulary shift naturally, not mechanically.
Friend version. If my dog had more walks, he'd be calmer. Simple, warm, friendly. No need for technical terms. The need is reassurance, not diagnostic precision.
Vet version. If this breed had longer exercise windows, his temperament would stabilize. Notice breed and temperament appear. The vet cares about patterns. Clarity beats cuteness during appointments. Examiner version. If owners increased enrichment and scheduled consistent walks, the breed's reactivity would likely decrease. Objective tone, precise nouns, breed, temperament, vet, level clarity yet still human.
See the registers? Friend needs comfort. Vet needs detail. Examiner needs precision. If you can slide between them, your control over audience needs is stronger than nervy improvisation.
Another animal scenario. Friend, if fireworks vanished, my terrier would relax. Vet, if we used desensitization, temperament would improve. Examiner, if municipalities restricted fireworks, animal stress would drop significantly.
Paraphrasing with synonyms, carefully chosen. Jobs becomes employment opportunities. Really noisy becomes louder than ideal. good for society becomes socially beneficial. Switches should be cleaner than complicated.
And don't over-paraphrase. Hit the nail on the head with concise pivots. So you're asking about affordability. Then deliver. The point is direction, not thesaurus gymnastics, you know?
What if storytelling for part 2? If I hadn't met my mentor, I'd have chosen finance. Consequence: my career would feel less aligned than today. Reflection sounds thoughtful without sounding scripted.
Cultural example: if neighborhoods hosted multilingual workshops, newcomers would integrate faster than current timelines. Your sentence carries policy, empathy, outcome. That's part 3 gold without heavy jargon.
Counterfactual history. If our city had preserved old markets, tourism would be more sustainable than mall-centric development. Careful. We're imagining responsibly, not rewriting reality dramatically.
Personal growth angle. If I practice daily, my pronunciation would be clearer than last term. What ifs motivate without boasting? Motivation sounds more believable than sudden perfection claims.
Combined with modals for polite power, if governments offered grants, artists could run workshops, attendance might improve. That trio if clause, could, might, sounds diplomatic and forward-looking.
Paraphrasing trap to avoid. Cosmetic synonyms that change meaning. Cheap isn't always affordable. When unsure, describe the need instead. Prices would be manageable for students. Needs keep precision.
Listening lens again: types and needs. Identify the type: personal, policy, comparison. Then the need: example, implication, balance. If you satisfy needs, the score climbs faster than nerves.
Micro role play. Examiner: should cities host mega events? Paraphrase: so we're weighing benefits and costs. Answer: if cities planned community alternatives, gains would spread wider than downtown zones.
Another: is technology isolating people? Paraphrase: so connection quality. Answer: if platforms promoted local meetups, screen time would convert into friendships stronger than follows. Forward steps beat complaints.
Idiom in service of clarity. In a nutshell, what ifs let you test ideas without starting fights. Keep it soft. Tone matters. Soft confidence outperforms loud certainty under exam pressure.
Quick structure template spoken naturally. Restate: what if, consequence. So access matters. If trains ran later, workers would arrive less stressed. That triangle is sturdier than a paragraph of adjectives.
Paraphrasing part 1 safely. Question: do you cook? Restate: so daily routine. Answer: if evenings were longer, I'd cook more. Currently delivery feels quicker than chopping after class.
Paraphrasing part 2 safely. Topic: describe a challenge. Restate: so a significant setback. Answer: if I hadn't failed that test, I wouldn't have redesigned my schedule. Consequence makes the lesson visible.
Paraphrasing part 3 safely. Prompt: should art be subsidized? Restate: so public funding priorities. Answer: if support increased, access would broaden. However, oversight should remain stronger than past attempts.
Voice control tip: emphasize the if clause lightly, then land the consequence. That rhythm guides listeners better than racing. Calm delivery makes reasoning sound more credible than speed.
Audience challenge. Post 2 lines, 1 paraphrase plus 1 what if. Keep them connected to real life. Practicing aloud builds memory faster than silent reading. Courage counts as study time, haha.
Add balanced contrast. If exams included projects, creativity would rise. However, grading would be harder than traditional testing. Balance prevents one-sided answers that sound like rants.
Policy nuance. If cities capped rents, affordability would improve short-term, but construction might slow. Nuance shows you considered unintended effects. Examiners reward that maturity consistently.
Evidence pairing again. If school breakfasts expanded, attendance would likely improve. Studies show morning nutrition is more influential than reminders. Pairing if statements with research verbs upgrades credibility.
Mini CTA. If this helps, like and share. Your comment might spark someone's breakthrough tonight. Community energy travels faster than solo stress, especially before exam week.
Final idiom drop, carefully placed. The ball is in your court. Practice what, ifs, and paraphrases tonight. Then tomorrow, your confidence will be heavier than nerves and lighter than memorized scripts.
Bridge forward. Next, we'll close everything beautifully. Register choices, comparatives, modals, what-ifs, paraphrasing so your answers feel natural and examiner-friendly. Warm voices, sharp minds. Section 6 is coming.
We've built a toolkit. Register control, comparatives, modals, what-ifs, paraphrasing. Tonight we stitch them together, so your answers sound clearer than nerves and warmer than memorized scripts.
I'm proud of you already. Your examples felt braver than last week. Let's tighten everything, sprinkle persuasive vocabulary, and leave you glowing with practical confidence, not empty pep talks.
Quick reminder of purpose. IELTS wants credibility, cohesion, and concision. Your goal is a voice more precise than slang, but friendlier than legalese. That balance earns trust, then scores.
Start with opinion starters that sound human. I think, I feel, it seems, from my experience, I'd argue, I'd suggest. These soften edges and invite dialogue rather than collisions.
Then add comparatives to guide judgment. Clearer than, more concise than, less casual than, more persuasive than, more precise than. Comparisons turn taste into reasoning. Reasoning persuades examiners quietly.
Now modals for polite power. Must, should, might, could. Must anchors safety or rules. Should offers advice. Might signals possibility. Could opens options. Tone management matters more than decoration.
Next, second conditionals for depth. If cities invested more, congestion would ease. If libraries opened later, access would improve. What-ifs demonstrate foresight, calmer than slogans, smarter than complaints.
Paraphrasing finally. Restate the essence, not the entire question. So the issue is access, so we're weighing cost and impact. Restatements by thinking time without sounding mechanical, honestly.
Let's braid everything with persuasive terms. Nuance, precision, credibility, register, cohesion, coherence, concision, assertive, tentative, anecdotal, empirical, implication. Sprinkle naturally, no fireworks, just steady light.
Roleplay 1 Part 1 Prompt. Do you like outdoor exercise? I'll answer first, casually, then upgrade. Casual. Yeah, I'm super into jogging. Parks are awesome. Okay, upgrade next.
Examiner-friendly version. I like jogging. Neighborhood parks feel safer than downtown streets, and early mornings are quieter than evenings. From my experience, short runs are more sustainable than sprints.
Notice the shape opinion starter. 2 comparatives, 1 tiny reason. It sounds credible without sounding cold. Credibility grows faster than vocabulary lists when details click with real life.
Roleplay 2. Part 2 topic. A project you completed. I'll build a compact arc using everything. I'd like to describe a charity drive. Our approach became more organized than previous attempts.
Continue with impact and modal magic. We should coordinate volunteers first. Small teams could call donors. If deadlines slipped, outcomes would suffer. See how must, should, could would dance politely.
Close that long turn. As a result, donations increased. The spreadsheet made our reporting more coherent than last year. Cohesion markers like, as a result, glue thoughts better than tape.
Roleplay 3 Part 3 Discussion. Should universities prioritize research or teaching? Let's both answer briefly, showing balance. I'll start. I'd argue teaching is more impactful than rankings for undergraduates.
However, research might drive innovation and could attract funding. Ideally, priorities should remain balanced, otherwise outcomes would tilt. Balanced stance, hedged language, clear comparatives. Examiner, friendly without dullness.
Listening skill check. Extract types and needs. Type, preference, narrative, policy. Needs, tone, structure, depth. When you satisfy needs, coherence rises. When coherence rises, confidence follows almost automatically.
Let's practice quick upgrades. I'll throw casual lines. You convert them mentally. The festival was really cool. Now, the festival felt more inclusive than last year. Signage was clearer than before.
Another. My teacher is the best ever. Upgrade. Her explanations are more concise than the textbook and more engaging than most lectures. Concision plus comparative equals credibility.
Integrate idioms carefully for color, not confusion. Rule of thumb, shorter answers for Part 1. In a nutshell, Part 3 needs reasons. Keep idioms cleaner than glitter sparkle, don't blind.
Let's build a portable template for each part. Spoken style. Part 1. Preference plus comparative plus micro example. I prefer trains. They're more punctual than buses, and yesterday's ride arrived earlier than expected.
Part 2. Scene plus actions plus reflection. I joined a workshop. Sessions were shorter than lectures but more practical than tutorials. Afterward, my confidence felt stronger than before.
Part 3. Position plus comparative reasoning plus implication. Libraries are more inclusive than stadiums, therefore access could expand. If hours extended, outcomes would improve. That triangle charms examiners reliably.
Micro drill hedging ladder. Absolute. Tourism improves economies. Better. Tourism often improves economies. Best for nuance. Tourism might improve economies, though impacts could vary. Choose certainty to match evidence.
Pronunciation tip: underline logic with stress, not volume. Say more effective than, less risky than. Clear stress makes arguments easier to follow than fast, breathless paragraphs.
Anxiety tricks start with an opinion starter to gain rhythm. I'd suggest, from my experience, rhythm slows time. Slow time beats panic. Panic ruins ideas faster than grammar mistakes.
Community prompt time. Post one informal phrase and your upgraded IELTS version. For example, kinda crazy, rather severe. Share yours. Your example might unlock another listener's aha moment tonight.
Quick animal cameo reminder, because syllabus. Friend tone, my dog gets jumpy. Vet tone, this breed's temperament is reactive. Walks should be longer. Examiner tone, temperament trends reactive. Enrichment might reduce stress.
See the register switches? The audience decides the suit your words wear. Dressing purposefully is smarter than guessing. Guessing creates mixed signals, which damage coherence and credibility.
Now a compact master example mixing everything. I think parks are more beneficial than malls. Communities should invest steadily. If budgets increased, outcomes would improve. Evidence suggests participation might rise.
That's a tidy package opinion starter. Comparative, modal, what if, evidence verb. Add one implication. As a result, health costs could decrease. Implication tells the examiner you can see around corners.
Missed avoidance over ornamentation. 10 clever words are less effective than 5 clear ones. Concision is kindness to listeners, and kindness often reads as confidence. Confidence persuades without shouting.
Another trap: memorize templates dumped unchanged. Examiners smell formulaic answers quicker than you think. Use structure flexibly. Let examples breathe. Real experiences sound more convincing than perfect patterns.
Small listening exercise: spot the need. Question: how should cities support cyclists? Need: solutions. Answer: cities should widen sidewalks, no bike lanes. Cycling could become more attractive than short car trips.
Add balance. However, safety must remain the priority. See the trio? Should for advice, could for possibility, must for non-negotiables. Layering modals makes your stance feel thoughtfully engineered.
Audience call out if this helped. Like, share, and comment. Tell us one informal phrase you'll upgrade this week. Community courage spreads faster than fear, and courage sounds beautiful on microphones.
Let's recycle the persuasive vocabulary one more time. Nuance, precision, credibility, register, cohesion, coherence, concision, assertive, tentative, anecdotal, empirical, implication. Keep 2 or 3 ready per answer.
Speed round upgrades. Super important, highly significant. Really bad, seriously problematic. Pretty good, reasonably effective. Tone climbs, drama drops. Examiners thank you silently.
Bridge habit for long turns. First, then, finally. Small signposts keep coherence stronger than nerves. Add one sensory detail. Sensory specifics anchor memory better than abstract labels.
If questions twist unexpectedly, paraphrase and pivot. So we're comparing cost and access. That line buys 3 seconds. 3 seconds organize thoughts better than any panic-driven speed.
Final mini practice. Build 2 lines, 1 comparative, 1 what if. Local libraries are more welcoming than malls. If hours extended, teenagers would study longer. Post yours, will cheer loudly.
Viral line warm-up. Clarity isn't colder than slang. It's kinder to listeners. We said it earlier, and it still punches. Language can hug while arguing beautiful paradox, endlessly useful.
Last guidance before the sign-off. Record yourself, listen once, and replace 2 intensifiers with comparatives. That micro-edit makes fluency sound stronger than yesterday within 15 minutes, honestly.
Final CTA, like, share, and comment your informal IELTS pair. Tag a friend who needs a nudge. Helping others sharpens your own register, sense more than solitary drills ever will.
Ready for the fridge door quote? Take a screenshot, share it, and make someone's study night easier. We want this line traveling farther than any algorithm today.
Precise doesn't mean distant. It means respectful. That's the heart of Examiner. Friendly speech, respect for time, ideas, and ears. Keep that compass and your register will rarely drift.
From us to you, warm voices, sharp minds, keep practicing out loud. Your answers will feel steadier than nerves, brighter than doubt, and closer to the scores you dream about.